Good morning, boys and girls. It's Miss Ellen, and look who I've got with me today. Superman! He's a superhero, isn't he? Today, I want to talk about some superheroes who were in the Bible. What kind of a superhero are you when you don't have superpowers like Superman does? And Superman is only a superhero in our imaginations and in the movies. There is no real Superman in real life, but there are some real superheroes in our lives. And today I want to tell you a story of a whole bunch of superheroes that we find in this particular story. And this story takes place a long, long time ago before Jesus was born, but after Joseph. Remember Joseph? He ended up being a powerful man in Egypt, and when there was a famine, he made a plan and found a way to rescue the Egyptians, and even his family came to Egypt so they would not endure the famine in their homeland. Well, after Joseph died, his family remained in Egypt, and eventually they were called the Hebrew people or the Israelites. And they enjoyed living in Egypt for quite a long time, but over time after his death, things began to change and new pharaohs came and were rulers over Egypt. And then several hundred years after Joseph's death, there was a brand new pharaoh who did not even know anything about Joseph or how he had helped Egypt during a famine. That new pharaoh watched how the Israelites continued to grow in number, and he became afraid that they would outnumber the Egyptians and become much more powerful. And so he set the Israelites to work for him. Oh yes, making bricks and building new cities. And gradually he turned them into slaves and put over them cruel, cruel Egyptian masters. Life became very difficult for the Israelites, but still the Israelite numbers grew. And finally, Pharaoh gave orders that any baby boy born to an Israelite family was to be killed. Well, the Israelites had midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, who helped the moms when they were birthing their babies. And so Shiphrah and Puah were the ones who were supposed to kill those baby boys when they were born. But they feared God, and they did not do what the evil Pharaoh said. And when he heard that this was not happening, he called them to him and asked for an explanation. Oh my, it must have taken a great deal of courage to stand before this powerful ruler. But they were very wise, and they said, "O Pharaoh, our Hebrew women are not like your Egyptian women. Our Hebrew women are strong and vigorous, and they have their babies before we even get to be there." Pharaoh did not like their answer, but God blessed Shiphrah and Puah for their obedience to him, and the Israelite numbers continued to increase, and he even blessed, the Bible says, Shiphrah and Puah with their own families. But Pharaoh was not happy. If they were not going to obey him, then he ordered all the Egyptians to find the baby boys born to Hebrew women and to snatch them and throw them into the river to drown them. Oh my, what a terrible time it was in the Hebrew settlements. And there was Jochebed. She had a baby boy too. Oh, and she feared that somebody would snatch her, so she hid her baby boy in her home. And for 3 months, she was able to hide him there and keep quiet, and nobody found him. But that baby boy was getting too big, and she didn't know what to do. But one day, she thought of a plan. And so she took a reed basket, and she made it waterproof. And then she took that basket down to the river, and she gently put it in the water amongst the reeds, close to the edge of the river. Well, that baby boy had an older sister. Her name was Miriam. And when Jochebed went home, back home after she put the baby in the water, Miriam stayed. She hid in the bushes and watched to see what would happen. And it wasn't too long before she saw somebody coming. And who should it be? The Pharaoh's daughter. Oh, I guess Miriam's heart was pounding. She knew what the rule was. Pharaoh had said, if you find a baby, destroy the baby. What would she do? Pharaoh's daughter spotted that basket, and she had a servant with her. She had a couple of maids. And so she asked the one maid to bring the basket to her, and when they opened it up, oh my, they found a baby boy in there. And Pharaoh's daughter knew right away it must be a Hebrew baby. And she had compassion. She felt sorry for the baby. And when Miriam saw that she had compassion, she was so brave that she came out of her hiding place and asked the Pharaoh's daughter, would you like a nurse to care for the baby? And the Pharaoh's daughter said, yes, please. So you know what Miriam did. She ran home, and I bet it was happy news when she told her mom, Pharaoh's daughter wants to look after the baby and she needs a nurse. And so they would have gone back. And Pharaoh's daughter made arrangements for Jochebed, the baby's mother, to nurse the baby until he was old enough to go and live with her in the palace. And she would even pay Jochebed for doing that. What a happy day it was. What a courageous act Jochebed did to let her baby, leave her baby in the water and trust God to look after him. That took a strong woman to let her baby go. What a courageous woman Pharaoh's daughter was, defying her own father's laws and not destroying that baby. Instead, that baby she would call Moses because, as she said, she drew that baby out of the water. And Moses would grow up, adopted by Pharaoh's daughter in Pharaoh's palace, and learn he would get lots of training, he would get a really good education for the job that God had him much later in life. So here's another picture of Pharaoh's daughter finding the baby and Miriam hiding in the bushes. Oh my, what a happy time it was that this baby was saved. What a lot of courageous women. And who are the courageous women in our lives today? Well, we are battling an invisible virus. And so there are a lot of courageous women. There's Miles' mom, who's a nurse. There's Ethan's mom, who's a midwife, just like Shifra and Pua were. There are women policemen. There are women firefighters. There are women working in our stores. Even our own moms are courageous women, having to mother us through hard times and being strong when we need them to be strong. Let's thank God for the courageous women in our lives. And while we're thanking them, I know some of you have drawn pictures and done thank you cards. You know, we live in a time when even our leaders are having a tough time. Aren't we grateful for leaders who are not like that Pharaoh? Our leaders are there to protect us. And while we're writing letters to the courageous women in our lives, maybe we can write a letter of thanks to our own Prime Minister, to thank him for how he's helping to keep us all protected and to try and keep us all safe. Or maybe we'd rather draw a picture that would encourage him, just like we do for our family members. If you decide you want to write to the Prime Minister, I chose this because when you write to him and put it in an envelope, you do not need a stamp. It is free to mail a letter to this address of the Prime Minister, and our Prime Minister right now is Justin Trudeau. You put your name on the left-hand corner there, and you can maybe get your mom and dad to help you with that. But we can be thankful for the courageous people in our lives. And while we are at home, just like Miriam, doing the obedient thing is being courageous. Doing the right thing before God is being courageous. So as we go through the week, let's also remember the psalm that we learned last year, because this story talks about that if we do not sit in the seat of scoffers like the evil Pharaoh, but we are defiant and we disobey evil rulers and evil people, and we obey God and do what He says, then God will bless us. God blessed Jochebed with keeping her baby safe. God blessed Miriam with keeping her baby brother alive. And God even blessed Pharaoh's daughter by allowing her to be a mom to Moses. All right, that's the end of our story, and I will see you next time. I'll be praying for you. Bye for now.